BTB listeners, thank you so much for checking out today's episode. Listen, if this episode inspires you, do me a favor, take 5 seconds to shoot me a like and subscribe to the podcast. There are several more exciting guests that are in the pipeline, and I just can't thank you enough for your continued support, and let's keep paying the mission forward.
As long as you're able to work towards your goal 100% and stay disciplined and dedicated with it, that statistic doesn't really mean anything.
In today's episode, I interview Noah Christian Dion. He has an absolutely incredible built-to-be journey as a relentless, faith-driven tennis player from Texas who refuses to let statistics define his future. Noah's dream, it's to compete at the Division I college tennis level. His journey has been everything short from easy, battling the challenges of walking on Texas Christian's men's tennis team to navigating the unpredictable world of the transfer portal. Noah has faced obstacles that will make most people quit. We're pulling back the curtain of Noah's day-to-day grind, his struggles with self-doubt, the power of faith in his journey, and the mental toughness it takes to keep pushing forward when the odds are stacked against you. If you've ever doubted yourself, if you've ever faced setbacks in the pursuit of your dreams, this episode is for you.
Don't be afraid of the dark. Be careful with stars. Not every light is gonna guide you.
Welcome to the BTB Project, designed to empower listeners to identify their why and to live their best lives no matter the circumstances. My name is Kollman Gearhart. A former athlete and motivational coach, I've had the opportunity to inspire thousands through my story and help accomplish what they are built to be. You'll be encouraged by each and every episode, and let's get into it.
Yeah, when I blow up, I'ma soar high like Peter Pan. In real life, be living all my dreams. If I'm waking up, it's in a foreign land.
Well, the BTB Project is back yet again, and I'm incredibly humbled. I'm very fortunate through the Project podcast to meet some unbelievable people. And today will be no different. I came across this young man actually wrapping up a episode through my friend XXL Tennis, and somehow, some way, the algorithm of social media shows me this young man sitting on a bench talking about his aspirations of playing Division I college tennis. Not only was I impressed with his goal, not only am I impressed with his work ethic, his determination, and his resiliency. I cannot wait to get into his story, and I know it's going to impact you as a listener. Mr. Noah Christian Dion, welcome to the BTB Project.
Thank you so much.
Of course, man. And hey, there's a lot of things to uncover with you. They say that it's 1.6% of the high school tennis players will go on and play Division I college tennis. Knowing that statistic and knowing where you sit today, what in the world made you think that you could accomplish a goal like that?
That's a huge question. I've definitely been reminded of that statistics a million times, and I just can't let that get to you. You too. I'm a big person of faith, and the Lord has definitely led my life in every aspect. And I know that everyone has a dream, everyone has an aspiration, but as long as you're able to work towards your goal 100% and stay disciplined and dedicated with it, that statistic doesn't really mean anything, especially through faith. And I know that the God that I serve, John, Isaac, Jacob, and Moses, can do the same thing. Last 2,000 years ago, he can do the same thing today. And I know if he's called me to this, then it's not a matter of statistics. It's a matter of, am I able to follow the Lord through it all?
It's so well said, because that question was very intentional. I know that you're probably someone that comes up against a lot of naysayers, a lot of people that say you can't do something, a lot of people that are the quote unquote realist. And what attracts me to your story, man, is a little over 20 years ago, I was in your same shoes, and I had a goal to play Division I college tennis. And at that point, I was broken and knew that I was going to have to make a radical change to accomplish my goal. I know currently you are sitting here, TCU, definitely enjoying your journey, trying to make an impact in that tennis program. But as of recently, things have shifted. Here you are wanting to accomplish this dream of Division I college tennis, to starting to get your feet wet over these last couple of years of what it really takes. What have you learned, and what about your journey so far has allowed you to keep wanting to accomplish this?
Yeah, definitely the motivation is probably the hardest part, because especially being here at TCU by myself, it's all about myself. Being able to stay disciplined 24/7 and do my best that I can every single day to get better and better. Even when people tell me that you're not going to make it, even when people, my comments are saying disrespectful stuff, or even other people around me saying that it's going to be tough, man. I know it's going to be tough, and it's definitely not easy to keep on doing what I'm doing and try to still want the same results that I've been having for the past year, 2 years. And I definitely am a lot farther on this journey than I was when I started. That's 100%. And I've definitely improved a lot. And that's helped me stay true to that goal, stay true to my sense of, okay, I can do this. Not because that statistically I'm not there. My ranking is like 7.6 UTR. And if I want to play on TCU, it's at least a 12.5. So it's completely out of the range. But I do know that I do have a discipline, and I do know that if I keep on working towards it, there's a possibility that I can achieve something close to that, or even better than what my expectations are. I trust in the Lord, and I know He can do stuff through acceleration. He can accelerate me in the spirit and also in the physical. And there's so many opportunities that can happen that if I give up on myself, then I would never be able to achieve that. And so that kind of motivates me to keep going, know that there's always an opportunity to surpass the expectations that the world sets on you.
The ability to not lean on your own understanding. And I know UTR is a very real statistic. I think that algorithm and the way that they set things up, it's really fascinating, because I didn't have UTR when I was being recruited. It was more straight up wins and losses, and not necessarily how you lose or how you win. And there's so many different variables. And with that said, the understanding that statistic is something that is heavily influenced and used by college coaches to recruit players. When it comes to this unconventional path, unconventional development that you've had, what are some ways outside of the statistic are you able to impact programs, get a coach's attention, or is it just strictly what your UTR is?
Yeah, definitely depends on the program. Maybe you go to a top 50 D1, they might be 80 to 90% looking at the UTR. And then the other 10 to 20%, they might look at your character and academics, all those type of things that kind of influence it. But they do want, the first thing they want is the level. When you go a little bit lower than that, then they look at the overall picture. How can I help develop players? How can I help grow them? How can they complement the team? Maybe I might want a lefty, even though they might not be a 12-5, they can be a strong lefty that can be a powerhouse on a lineup if we're playing against maybe UCF and they have people that might struggle with lefties. Like put them in, or maybe it might be somebody who is a really good character and can bring the overall team morale. And so it's just what value you bring can help influence the program. And for me, I'm pretty big on communication. I'm a big extrovert, and I like being encouraging, motivating people. And so like in the aspect of the team environment, I know that I can always be there to help out with the team, and I always can have the discipline. I definitely have the discipline. I've been doing this for a year, posting almost every single day, showing kind of my own journey. And I know a lot of coaches like that, showing that I want it, that I want it just as much as the next guy, maybe even more. I might not be in the position because I never played juniors. really like everybody else that's playing Division I. So it's okay, what am I going to do now? How am I going to get to that level? How am I going to compete if I don't have the match experience, if I don't have the ranking? But if I know that if I have the marketability through my social media, I have the work ethic, and also I have the personality that coaches will like, then that can be a good contributing factor for recruiting.
So go back to when the decision was made, man, that, hey, I'm going to give this tennis thing a run. How did you come across the sport? And if you weren't playing tennis as a junior, what were you up to athletically? I've seen a few videos of a skateboard and some other things. I'm curious, what was your hobbies before the game of tennis as well?
Yeah, I didn't play junior tournaments. I did like juniors. Like I played tennis when I was younger, but I started like when I was like 8 or 9, around that time, when the summer camps that like you get a book, you read a book, and then you play tennis for an hour type of programs where they incentivize you. You read two books, you might get like a $10 Chick-fil-A gift card, like those type of camps. And so it's just stuff that was like really cheap or really free. I did those summer camps just because our family didn't have the type of money to go do like training and all that type of stuff. So I was immersed in whatever I could. And it was not until maybe around 10, 11, I started going to a summer camp in Ohio, because that's where my cousin played, and he started a year before me. And I was like a big incentive because I wanted to play with him, but he didn't really want to play with me. And so then it was like a motivating factor eventually to want to get better, and wanted to like the competitive aspect, wanted to beat him eventually. And that kind of one of the factors that pushed me to want to be better. And then like my father being there too, wanting to like instill that sense of you can do this, you can push yourself, even though he didn't have too much knowledge of tennis, but he had knowledge of other sports. And I kind of intertwined with tennis a little bit, and kind of sport the aspect of you have to want this, you have to be willing to work for it. And those two factors led me to really want to pick it up. And then probably around freshman year is when, or like 8th grade is when I started playing all year round. There was like another cheap $100 account for 3 months that I went to for a school program that kind of just helped people who didn't have money get into tennis. And I did that, helped develop those kind of groups. I didn't learn a lot of technique, but I learned a little bit more match play and stuff like that. And so I developed a lot of bad habits, but that's another conversation. But yeah, that's how I got into it. And from freshman year, I just picked it up, but I've been playing sports all my life. Any sport you can probably think of, I played competitively. I played basketball competitively for 3 years, but it ranged from elementary to middle school, and then track, cross country. I even did water polo for 2 summers. I did soccer. I did, high jump. I did everything you could think of. Table tennis. I did volleyball. I did travel volleyball in high school for a year. So that was really fun. And I had to eventually choose between volleyball and tennis. And I ended up choosing tennis, and that's where it's been leading. I've just been putting my time in since high school and just really trying to pursue it. But the resources have always been an issue, but now I'm trying to make the most of my situation.
So I know you mentioned TCU and kind of the reality of the requirements, UTR, of what it takes to play at a program that just recently won the national championship. That's a very tall task to get up to that 12, 13 UTR. But I'm curious, what led you to TCU, and knowing what makes you tick and your drive and determination, what was your outlook and goal before you hit campus at TCU?
Yeah, I guess going from junior year, I wanted to play college tennis. I tried to put in the work, but I was injured. I didn't really have a lot of knowledge, so I kept getting injured because I overworked myself, playing too much tennis, and I lift too heavy. Like I was pretty much training like a bodybuilder, and that wasn't really the best for tennis, and I kept getting injured, and I just didn't know. And senior year, I was looking to get recruited, and I got a few like offers from like NAI schools or some D3s with a mix of academics and athletics. But I knew I wanted more. I knew that I can develop to be better, even though I might not be at the level yet. I knew I had the potential, and I wanted to bank on myself. And still go to school. I get academics, and it was a crazy story just how I got to TCU. But long story short, I got into the majority of my schools I applied to. I got scholarships for majority of them too, but I didn't get full rides from any of them. I only got like half, and my family wasn't able to afford anything, so I had to pay pretty much college all by myself. And my sister before had to come back from school because of some finance issues, and so I knew that if I couldn't pay for it, I refused to take out a loan. So I just either I'm going to school for free or I'm not going to school at all. And it was tough. And then not until probably like the February of senior year, which is extremely late, I got an opportunity to go to TCU for this prestigious scholarship. I killed the interview. It went really well. But I came back, and then 2 weeks later, I got the note that I got the full tuition. And I thought it was really cool. But TCU is right now $84,000 a year. Full tuition is still another $20,000 for room and board. And so I was like, okay, I love TCU, but I've not paid $20,000. So I was like, okay. And a week later, I got an email saying that I got the full ride to TCU. And from there, I was like, that was it. And then even though I could play tennis somewhere else, like full, I just knew that I felt like the Lord was calling me to TCU. And so I just took the opportunity, and like I'm here now, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's amazing how faith aligns us with these opportunities. We might not understand in the moment the purpose or meaning behind it, and you had that scholarship and you had the ability to potentially play for the tennis team, and here you are a few months down the road after that, and it's kind of another twist and turn into your story, but TCU has given you a foundation and a platform to continue to build off of what you've been building. And I say that with seeing your first couple of days on campus. I believe you were baptized, and you had a lot of, moments where you probably had to become pretty darn vulnerable, being away from your family, being in the temptations of college, and having this goal of being a tennis player. When I'm saying all of that, Noah, how were you able to not only be grateful and thankful for your scholarship, but manage all of the nuances of being a college guy with this huge goal?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. It's going off before that. When I got to TCU, my goal was still to play tennis, and I wanted to walk on, maybe get to like 11 something UTR and ask the coach as an opportunity. Because I asked him for recruiting. He said no. And so I was like, okay, let me just do my best. I want to be a team manager. So I had an opportunity for a year to do that and be around the team. It was amazing. But just being at TCU, the atmosphere, obviously it's a college, so there's temptations everywhere. And juggling, being baptized and all that, it's tough because you want to spend as much time progressing in tennis, practicing. At the same time, you want to keep on developing your faith, going to church and getting involved on campus, ministries, all that type of stuff. So it's a big balancing act of making sure you're increasing your faith, but also making sure that you're spending enough time for tennis. And so sometimes I might go to tennis tournaments on the weekend. I won't be able to go to church, and I have to be like, okay, how can I still make sure my faith is increasing? And so that's a big dynamic. But just other than that, just really just pretty much trusting the Lord and trusting that the journey that I have is in His hands. And yes, I can constantly think about all those aspects of I guess the aspect of like you're in a tough situation and you're like in that place of like college where it's everything's hitting you, but you still have to focus on your goals every single day of what the Lord is calling you and doing your best every single day to complete that goal. But yeah, temptation was tough as this is college, and it was just tough. It was tough. It was tough. It was all good stuff. It was tough, but it was good. It's just I've been able to balance it a lot better now, and being able to dedicate enough time for tennis, dedicate a good amount of time for the Lord, even though sometimes I still need to do more. But I'm able to. I've grown so much in the past year since when I came here.
the story, I mean, when I tell you that you and I are literally like long lost brothers, I mean it. I literally verbatim the financial situation. I came from not a whole lot, man. And I had every temptation in the world when I finally hit college. I actually almost walked on at Arizona State when I was coming out of that tennis academy, and I was taking classes at the community college near ASU while I was training during my gap year, so that when I went back to school, I would be immediately eligible. But I am so thankful to this day that Tempe, Arizona didn't work out, because if you think of every distraction possible, TCU on steroids, I present you ASU. So I just was so thankful that I decided not to go that path. And the reason why I didn't go that path was I was dealing with injuries. Like what you said, I had an MCL sprain in my left knee, and I ultimately came back to Colorado after that knee injury when I was training, and opted not to do ASU. And I walked on to the only school that I could get into academically in Colorado that had a Division I program. At the time, CU had a really, really good men's program. They were 21 in the country, but they were talking about cutting the program. And then DU, which is another great program, I wasn't smart enough to get into. My wife went there, but I wasn't smart enough to get into. And ultimately, you just think of all of these different, obstacles that you're facing, and the work ethic piece, right? So I was a 5 a.m. guy just like you, man. And when I lost 100 pounds before college and I actually showed up to Northern Colorado, and I took out full student loans. Family could not afford it, but I was betting on myself that I could walk on and take a scholarship. That was the only way that I was going to be able to afford school. So as I'm saying all of that, when you think about your next chapter, and I don't know all of the nuances of how you're looking to transfer and the portal and things like that. I never had to deal with that when I was a player. But if you had to describe your ideal situation where you've arrived, you're playing D1 tennis or college tennis in general, what would that look like, man?
Yeah. Ideally, you can go to another D1 program, maybe mid D1, low D1, that has a good coach that wants to develop players and has decent academics, decent food, like the basic stuff that can help you be better. And just a good program that has like the trainers, the resources that you need, things to push you to be better. Just the basics, but of what can help you develop to be a better player. That's like the main thing, the bottom line. But from there, just having good academics and kind of still being able to keep my grades and keep my degree pathway on. But the goal is just go to a program for a year or two, maybe, or just really develop and get better, and hopefully break it to a good ranking wise, and then from there potentially transfer back out, hopefully to TCU again or to another school that has an even better program, that has a better degree pathway, that I can finish up either my undergrad or maybe do a master's program there. But that's the ideal situation, is to play somewhere for a year or two, get a lot better, and then potentially transfer back to TCU or somewhere else. The Lord has his own path, and I know that I would just go where he leads me.
I love that you're embodying the student athlete mindset, that academics are very important to you. But I have to tip my hat to you outside of academics. And it's actually still, I believe, academics in 2025, but a different type of academics. I believe you have a PhD in personal brand and developing a voice of who you are, which might have helped you in that TCU interview a little while back, that might have helped you in other interactions and relationships that you've come across. It might have helped you promote what you're trying to accomplish to, get the vehicle that was donated to you. I mean, there's so many different ways that you've been able to develop your personal brand and get people to know you at a very intimate level through social media and things like that. I'd love for you to talk about when you posted your first video or got into this social media thing, what was that like for you? And did you envision it would ever get to this point where you'd be posting daily?
Yeah, I mean, kind of the goal from starting was just to help with exposure because I knew my situation wasn't good. I mean, I'm at a good school, good environment, have everything I need, but my goal was to play tennis, and I feel like the Lord is leading me there. And for me to play on the T-Series team, it's pretty much nothing short of a miracle for me to get there. And I knew that the rate I was going, I was improving, but it wasn't enough to get me to the level I need to be at. So I knew that I needed exposure to get my name out there, so that because the Lord blesses man to man. And so if I could put myself out there and He sends somebody my way, it's also a good opportunity because I put myself out there in the first place. If I don't take action through my faith, then nothing can happen. Faith without works is dead. You need to have the faith of believing that the Lord can change your situation, but you also need to make sure you're putting in the work daily to get to that situation for make it to come into fruition. And so I wanted to do it for the exposure, and then also to help motivate others that the journey that they can go on, anything is possible if you persist enough, and two, anything is possible if you have God in your life. Like, that's the biggest factor for me. All this happened because of the Lord. Obviously, like, I've been able to put the work in daily, but it's changed my life from the inside out, and that's only because of Him. And yes, the basic principle of putting the work is important, and so many things can happen because of that. But just because I put in the work doesn't mean that I'll get to where I'm at today. It's also, I feel like, because of Him too. And the resources He put in my life, the people He has put in my life, and the opportunities that He has put in my life. That's just the bottom line. It's just, I feel like it's because of Him. Yes, a big part is just, like I said, just putting that work in. I believe that I could get to this level because I knew that how much I wanted it and how much I was willing to work for it. And so I was like, let me just keep doing what I'm doing. I never envisioned it exactly like this. Certain aspects, like me interviewing some pro players, are the way I'm going. But from the beginning, I wanted to document my journey and document me getting a car, doing tournaments, and all that type of stuff. But not the way that's going now. I didn't think exactly it's going to be like this, but it's changed for the better, honestly.
Yeah, the mindset piece is so critical to have that before any of these physical outcomes manifest. Told you a little bit about my story before we hopped on, and the biggest struggle that I had was I had this ability to master internalize, because when things were tough in my life, I felt like if I ever talked about it to somebody, that, you know, it was more or less embarrassing or something that I was very insecure about. My home life, my weight, being overweight, it's like I had all these insecurities, but ultimately the thoughts that I had about my insecurity and about not being good enough was literally manifesting that outcome. And it was a moment when I was 14 years old on a rock. I was at a Young Life camp in Buena Vista, Colorado, and Young Life is an organization for kids to find Christ. And I remember we had to go out on this rock, 15 minutes of silence. And during this 15 minutes of silence, I'm looking at this beautiful lake and scenery and just in my thoughts. And all of a sudden, God intervened, and all of these insecurities that I felt literally were washed away. I share that because after I got back from that trip, my motivation and my work ethic to go after my goal exponentially became more clear, more focused, more driven, because I wasn't in the driver's seat anymore. I had a co-pilot with me that knew how to navigate some of these difficult circumstances that I'd already faced. And through faith, I felt like my work ethic and determination increased. With you, I want to know how your work ethic came about. What made you a 5 a.m. guy? And I told you kind of my lowest of lows. Did you have something like that in your life early on that allowed you to want to He baptized a few years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I guess work ethic. I would say, yeah, I've always been pretty disciplined as a person. And even from started working on maybe like 8th grade, I remember I did like a Murph challenge. The Murph challenge was just 2-mile run, 300 squats, 200 pushes, 100 pull-ups every single day for 30 days. And I remember doing that challenge, and I was starting like fitness journey, the discipline, like pushing myself and wanting to be the best version of myself. And I catalyzed everything. And then freshman year, I started working out a little bit more. And then sophomore year, that's when COVID happened, and I was still pretty disciplined. I was trying to get to the weight room every single day. I was still focusing on tennis as much as possible, but just with the resources I had. And junior year, that's like took it up a notch. I was trying to be the best I could in tennis, and I was working out 5 a.m. I wake up at sometimes 4:30, take the bus up to school, and then work out from 6 to 7:30, 8 for my classes, and then I go through school, and then 3 lunchtime of my practice or eat, and then after school I'll have my tennis session, and that's the time I was doing volleyball. So I do tennis for 2 hours, and then I go straight to volleyball for 2 hours, and I come home at 9 p.m. at night, and then I would repeat that every single day. And that it really instilled that discipline, really trying to be on top of my stuff, because that's about school and everything, and my grades and all that. And so yeah, having that motivation, that discipline was set through the foundation of my high school, and it led through senior year. I realized I was working too much, so I toned it down a bit. And then even now, like, I haven't gotten as injured as much at all, but that's because I'm a lot more knowledgeable. I know a lot more things about the body, about tennis aspect, a lot better my technique, and that's helped me out so much. And having good people to teach me stuff, and just having my faith to the Lord has definitely helped. But definitely, I would say the lowest of the lows, probably, I don't know. I want to say none that's like made me who I am, but I would say like I did in high school. I got into TCU, everything seemed good, but I wanted to play tennis like fully, and I felt that I just wasn't at the level I needed to be, which I wasn't. But it kind of like was demoralizing, because I felt like I've been working towards this so long, and I haven't got any results I wanted. I was like not doing well, or I didn't set my account at the time. It felt like everything was just like the pressure of life. It's, what am I doing with my life? Like, I didn't feel a purpose of what I was doing. It just felt going through the motions, and I became numb in my feelings, and it was hard for me to express anything, and it was very frustrating. I was presenting life in a sense, and I felt without purpose. And yeah, that's when I got like more temptation and stuff like that, just trying to like maybe cope or try to feel more things that I wasn't feeling in my present life. And then I met this guy like TCU a week before school happened, and he's telling me about like more about God, and saying that because I believed in God, but at the same time I was ignorant. I didn't know too much about. I read the Bible, I did all that, but I didn't have an understanding of it in a different level. And so he broke it down, saying, like, if you love God, then you'll practice His commandments. And I was kind of like trying to compromise, just trying to convince myself that what I was doing was fine, but in actuality, it's not what the Lord wants for your life. And he told me that, and I had to think about it. And I couldn't eat for a day, like almost 2 days. I couldn't eat because there was just so much conviction. And from there, I was like, Lord, am I willing to let go of this to follow you? And I was like, I love you, but am I willing to do this? And I was like, I thought to myself, I was like, did I really just ask myself that question? I was like, am I willing to like let this go? I was like, Lord, I was like, I love you, I'll let this go. And so I let it go, and I got baptized on 3rd week of school. And ever since then, that's when my faith started taking off more and more. And then I started the channel a semester later. And yeah, it's just been slowly growing since then. It's been amazing.
I was definitely going to ask you about mentors or influences that you've come across on your journey that have helped you and supported you. And it sounds like that gentleman you met was a huge impact. And to piggyback off of that interaction, I'd love for you to share. You mentioned finding a coach that essentially understands you, can help you develop. I've done a few podcasts on an ideal coach. I think that that's a different conversation today than it was in the 80s and 90s. And, you kind of see a different player-coach relationship going on in sports. A lot more nurturing, a lot more empathy needs to happen, I believe, in today's day and age. And being a coach myself, I've realized that when I don't coach at a kid, but I coach with a kid, when I ask them, how can I help, and where I'm most valuable to them. But when you think of your ideal coach, and let's just maybe kind of frame it to this next chapter you're about to go on, what are some of the tangibles that you'd like to see from someone you're playing for?
Yeah. As a coach, I'll say like some of that push me. Because I feel like a lot of me getting here, I definitely have a few coaches that even now, some that have been helping me a lot, even though they're not always with me, but they still help me with, I can call them and ask some questions. And that's been definitely helpful a lot in my journey, just on the small nuances and the small things I've been working on with technique with them. But as a coach for a program, I want somebody that can help develop me. Even though my technique's been coming along a lot better, it's just, I know there's always a few nuances that I can definitely improve on, but strategy, that's something that I need to work on. I don't have the match experience as much as most people. I have 55 recorded matches within the past 2 years or a year and a half. These guys that I'm looking at that I'm playing against, they have 1,200 matches in the past few years. Since they're children, the level of experience is like mine, and they're just like this. Even though I might can compete against them in a good way and on the court, but I know that the match experience definitely can be a factor in all these other things, and touching the ball 10 times as much as me. And so I don't know, I want somebody that can help instill that strategy, that mental maturity within the tennis court that can help accelerate me in this process that I probably won't get anywhere else. But other than that, just somebody that can push me. To me, it's been me pushing myself for the past, since probably sophomore year. It's just me pushing myself. And I guess I might have my pops tell me go do this and that, but or maybe a coach or something at the time saying work, but it's nothing like having someone that's really knowledgeable about it and that's able to spend time with you to really push you and something like that. That's something I want, because there's only so much self-discipline you can have for yourself that can push you to be better. But when somebody's with you and telling you, you got 5 more seconds or you got 10 more seconds, you can do more, like that, it helps break that mental barrier they put on yourself. And that's something like that one. That's get on the ground, give me 20, 50 push-ups, and then why you won the last 20? You got 5 more. That's something that I want. Something that's, you can do more, you push yourself more. And I feel like that can really take my game to the next level.
Yeah, you're the one that brought up the Murph. A good old David Goggins quote, you're only 40% of the way to your capability once you give up mentally. That is something that's so frightening, because I've experienced it myself, limiting beliefs, self-doubt, the stuff that I touched on earlier. Man, if you take that into a tennis match, it's already hard being out there with, I've seen some of your videos of even with a rising junior that's, half your age. It's these kids are good and they're good early. And if you have any blemishes between the ears, it's over before it even starts. So as I'm saying that, I want to get into, I know you've talked about work ethic. I want to get into some hacks that maybe you've uncovered that have helped you progress maybe quicker than some of the other, players that I've come across. And I'll give you an example for me. Colorado, it's 5,280 feet above sea level. So if you've ever played tennis in that type of altitude, the ball just flies. It's almost unplayable in some cases. But I knew coming from Colorado that I was going to have an opportunity to use that to my advantage, meaning keeping the points shorter, optimizing my serve, understanding how to optimize my return and the +1 mentality. You know, the first ball that I'm hitting back, how effective am I to put myself into offensive situations? So if I had to put that into context to relate it to you, I was probably about a 7.4 to 8.5 UTR overall game. But when we're talking about my serve, I was probably a 13 or 14. That's what everyone always told me. My serve was world class. So I got a lot of free points off of my serve utilizing the high altitude. So as I'm mentioning that and you've developed your game, what are some things that you've done that tries to maybe make this process a little bit sooner rather than later for you, man?
Yeah, it's a good question. For me, definitely my biggest strength right now is my speed. Probably like a big athlete, so it's like I can cover court extremely well, and that's definitely, although my athletic ability is definitely up there with like maybe not conditioning, but just athletic ability, agility, all that type of stuff. It's up there with a lot of college players, even some pros. But overall, like technique wise, that's where I've been struggling. Or maybe just even strategy, all that type of stuff, the cohesiveness in my game. So I'll say maybe the things that hopefully will take my game accelerated. It's just that we need developing more confidence in my game. I feel like that would be huge. That would really take my game to the next level. That can help accelerate the process, but just trusting myself a lot more. Just knowing that I put in the work, and even though it might not be as much time aggregately as other people, but I know that I can definitely bring some, trust myself, be aggressive, trying to keep the points a little bit shorter, but trying to be a little more disciplined. That's something that I feel like if I can develop a lot better, that I can definitely take my game to the next level. Just use my agility, my speed to my weapon, not just trying to rely heavily on my athleticism, but be able to have it flow together with my technique. And so be able to strike the ball well, follow up, and still have Carlos Alcaraz. He's athletic, freak of nature, but he's also put the time in to where he's able to hone that, and he's able to chase down 1,000,000 balls, but he's able to still stay solid and not break down. So that's where I want to go, but a little more on a different pathway. So just, I don't have the biggest serve, but it's definitely serve feels like it's my biggest strength. It's just I've been dealing with the elbow issues in the past, and I haven't been able to serve the way I wanted to, but it's getting a lot better. And so now I'm able to place my serve a lot better, or be able to follow up my net game a lot more. But I think it just all comes to confidence and a few nuances. But yeah, I think serve and speed are my biggest strengths. That would take my game a little bit higher.
No, that's awesome. The confidence piece, I want to draw a circle around that for a sec and put on my coach's hat. No pun intended with me actually wearing a hat, but with you, man, when I watch some of your matches and I watch you play and I know you commentate over your matches, I can sense sometimes, especially when you're playing against a player that on paper is better than you, that I can feel that sense of a lack of confidence. So I'm just curious, this whole journey for you, man, and this lack of confidence piece, if you had to go back to pinpoint where this lack of confidence started, what comes to mind?
That's huge. That's a huge question.
Because I don't see that lack of confidence when you're standing next to Francis Tiafoe. I don't see that lack of confidence when you're posting your content outside of these matches. I only see that when you're playing.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know where I would say it started. Definitely, I used to have a lot of confidence when I was younger, first time bit. It's different sports, but I don't know. Maybe it's just believing what people said about me when I was younger. Maybe saying that I wasn't a maker, I'm not good enough, or playing those thoughts dictate who I become. And I would say, yeah, and just the reality of losing a lot. I lost a lot of matches in high school, and even now I'm losing a lot. Even though I'm getting a lot better, I'm able to win some, but it's a lot of losing. And so that definitely does affect your confidence just on the physical. And the thing that's helping me now is just trusting the Lord and the confidence of the Lord, knowing that if he has called me for it, then it's mine, and acting that confidence, knowing that the Lord has given me the victory already. And that's definitely helped me a lot with just having that internal self-belief. But just in the physical, just developing my game to where I feel like it matches with what I want it to be. But I know that, yeah, it's definitely tough. Because as a person, I feel like I'm pretty confident just in like how I carry myself. But I definitely feel like sometimes on tennis court, it doesn't seem like that. And that's what I've been working a lot on. Like you said, it seemed like matches. And it might not seem I'm as confident for sure. But yeah, definitely I feel like I'm working on that a little bit more and just trusting myself a little bit more on those pressure situations and all that. Even when I'm not feel like I'm playing 100%, but just still to know that I can make it up. I can do well. I can still play the game, or no, I can't. But yeah, that's a good question.
It's a hard question, and I think the purpose about asking it is because there's a lot of people that are listening to this that are fighting that same confidence barrier, and I fought it myself, and I want to put an application piece to this now that I believe you're beginning to tap into. I was able to tap into it, and the outcome was pretty extraordinary. I remember my goal was playing D1 college tennis, right? So my first match that I played when I made the team, Noah, I lost 6-0, 6-0, 25 minutes, literally like missing balls, like whiffing shots, sweating profusely, like knees are shaking. I accomplished my goal. I was playing Division I college tennis, but I didn't have a goal after that. I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, I've already arrived, right? And what I learned was I wanted that goal so bad that I never forecasted the long play. I never forecasted, I'm going to play Division I college tennis and I'm going to set some school records at where I play. I'm going to play Division I college tennis and I'm going to have a 78% first serve percentage or better in each one. Because if I'm holding serve and I find one break a set, I'm winning a lot of matches. So I kind of took my goal and I started adding more present, actionable things that I could do to complement the goal to keep me present. It led to my sophomore year after my mom passed away. All those negative beliefs that I had, all of the insecurities, the big teddy bear mentality, I called it. When I lost her and I figured that I had no choice because I was so broken that I might as well put my eggs in this basket of confidence and just see what happens. Every service game, when I stepped up to the line, I literally said this to myself every time I served. My serve is strong and great. My serve is strong and great. My average first serve was anywhere between 126 to 134 mile an hour during that year. For an 18-month period, I got broken twice in 18 months in all of my matches.
No.
But the only reason why it happened, bro, was because I literally put all of my eggs in the basket of my serve is strong and great. And I believed it. I believed that my serve was world class. I wasn't thinking about the chubby kid that grew up in Parker, Colorado, and the coach said he never was going to play Division I college tennis. I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about this is who I am. So as that's being said, man, and you're thinking of this confidence barrier, What are some changes you think you're going to be making moving forward that's going to help you accomplish your goal?
Yeah, that's good. I would say probably for changes, definitely just keep on working the mental side of the confidence. It's probably the biggest thing. I think tennis is probably 80% confidence. And it's so important to be able to believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, who's going to believe in it? And because when you step on that line, it's literally just about between you and the other person. And being able to believe in yourself in that moment can be able to create so many better wins. Even take it, for example, like Jay Fernley. He's broke into the top 100, and within 5 months of turning pro, it's insane how much he's done, how well he's done. I think winning like 3 challengers already is like, yeah, so quickly. And I talked to him, I think last year, freshman year, when I was like being like team manager. I talked with him. I was like, what helps you, I guess, in those pressure situations? Like, how are you able to get through them? Because I was struggling with nerves at the time. And I was like, what helps you get through those, especially on juice points or big points? What do you do? And he's so the biggest thing is there's 2 types of players. One person that plays a little more conservative on big points, and one plays more aggressive on big points. And he says, I tend to be the more aggressive. Like, I like to come out and trust my game and just do the best I can, because I know that if I can do that, then I can get a lot more wins. And ultimately, that's what helps me in those situations. I see him now, he's blasting like 80, 90 mile an hour forehands and serving big on big points. And I mean, it's paying out because he trusts himself, he believes in himself. And that's what I really want to develop in myself. And I have the affirmations for myself. Like, I believe I never talked negatively about myself. Now it's really trying to get that to where my body is able to follow along with just what my words are saying. Because I say all the time, like, I believe in myself. That's the only reason I'm here, because and verbally in a certain area, you have to believe in yourself to get here. But to get to the next level is a different level of confidence that is not just shown through your words, but it's also shown through your actions, and not just in the actions off the court, but on the court. And off the court, I might be confident. Off the court, I might talk really well like here, but when the court happens and those big positions, and I might have a double fault last point, then now I'm just going for a second serve body and hoping he chokes up or gives me a short ball and take advantage of it. Sometimes it can be a tactical play, but sometimes it can just be like you're not trusting your first serve, you're not trusting your game. And that's where I want to be able to develop more so in the future, knowing that I can come out, play my game. And a lot of times I play really well in practice. Recently, I've been playing really well. I played like this 11 UTR. I lost at 6-4, even though I lost, but it's 11 UTR. I'm playing competitively. I won against a 7-6-0. Like, I'm playing really well. Like, my ground shot's been great, and I felt amazing. And I come to the last tournament, and obviously I played too much volume throughout the week, and I came to the tournament exhausted, and so I messed it up. But it felt a lot more than just physical. It felt like more of a mental battle. Even though I believed in myself, but it didn't seem like that the way I was playing. And that's was frustrating, because I played really well and I have the confidence in practice. I'm coming out swinging for the ball, like I'm trusting my shot, and I go to a match and it doesn't feel the same. Even though I believe it, mentally it feels the same, but it doesn't feel like that. My actions are representing that. I don't know. I got to figure out, like, how can I allow that confidence to seep into my game, even through match play. And maybe it's just caring a little bit less about the results in certain aspects, or maybe it might just be my preparation and what's going through my mind in those big moments. But that's the main thing I want to work on, because my game wise has been developing pretty nicely. Like, rounding wise and ground strokes wise, I can play with 11s, 12s, but when it comes to the bigger moments, and because I'm able to get to 30 all in most every game, this is what I'm doing. I feel like once I'm able to figure those things out, then I think my UTR will show, it'll represent, because overall I feel like I can play at a high level. It's now just how can I do that more consistently for those big points.
Yeah, the critical points are always the most challenging ones, and you being able to recognize that at your age and to hone in on the importance of that. I mean, I tip my hat to you, because there is a point where a coach can help a player to a certain extent to prepare them for those moments. But I think you're onto something when you're talking about guys at TCU talking about the element of risk that they're willing to take. I often teach you got to risk it to get the biscuit. There's an element of risk that coincides with your confidence that as you practice under that risk tolerance on critical points, you develop the muscle of it's not as much of a risk anymore if this is how you're playing the game, right? Ultimately, I think with the guys that you're playing against and the landscape of tennis compared to what I grew up in, the margins are razor thin. And it's just amazing how a 6-4 set is determined by one or two critical points, right? I think that's the ultimate mental hack, is being able to find confidence to take those risks accordingly. But with all of that said, Noah, here you are on this path, and I'd love to give you an opportunity to, if you had to think back to, 8th grade, if you had the ability to go back knowing what you know now, to go sit on the bench during a changeover with your younger self at 15, 16-year-old Noah, what would you say to him? Maybe some words of wisdom to help him keep going.
I'll say there's two things. Like on the tennis court, I would say is never lose faith and trust in yourself. Outside of that, obviously I wasn't like fully I didn't rededicate my life yet to the Lord, but outside of that, I would say one to pursue God with all your heart and soul, and then probably to invest in yourself fully. I didn't have the money, and the times I did have the money, even though I spent it on tennis, pretty much all of it, but I didn't feel like I wanted enough in certain areas. I could have done more with the same way I'm doing it now, with really putting myself out there. I could have done the same when I was younger, and I probably would have gone farther than I am now, but I don't regret anything. I wouldn't change anything for the world, because I know the Lord has me on this own path, and the things I have now, that's amazing. But yeah, at the time, I'll say just really invest in yourself. So if you have the opportunity, go for it. And if you see that you're lacking something, go for it. Don't just try to wait for it to fall into your lap, because 9 times out of 10 it's not going to happen unless it's really planned by the Lord. But yeah, probably just, go for it, and then trust in the Lord off the court, and then on the court, then trust in yourself. You gotta believe in yourself.
No, I got a couple more for you, man. As far as a BTB community, folks that are tuning in to today's episode, how can we best support you, man?
Right now with my social media, it's the King Dion, Dion, and that's where I document my daily process. Me pursuing my dream of playing Division I tennis, that's just my current goal. But and that I have a YouTube channel, the same name. But I guess that's where you can support. So we're watching me get better and go through the ups and the downs, a lot of downs, but it's just a lot of the process of getting better.
100%. And lastly, I am a big believer in this concept of impossible is nothing. I've been told many times in my life that you're not capable of doing something, and I've shattered that mindset, that philosophy on numerous occasions, and it's by the grace of God that I've been able to help others do the same. When I say impossible is nothing, what does that mean to you?
It means everything. The situation I'm in, on paper, it's impossible. Getting from a 7, 6, 5, whatever it is, to a 12-5 or to even higher. Because it's just my immediate goal. My goal eventually is to be the #1 tennis player in the world. And so that's saying that to people won't just brush it off like this kid's crazy. But like I said, my faith is in the Lord, and I believe He's calling me. I know He's calling me through His tennis aspect, and I know that I have visions and dreams of me lifting up that Wimbledon trophy or the U.S. Open trophy, and I know that it's not going to come in a year or two, but it's definitely, if I'm able to trust in Him through this whole process and keep leaning on Him, that nothing is impossible. he is the final say in every decision. And as long as I keep trusting him and keep doing what I need to do, I will get there. If I don't, then I won't. But I believe I will. Impossible is just is nothing. Impossible is nothing.
Yeah, I'll steal the thunder of Mr. XXL Tennis and say what he said. Impossibility is a delusion. And I just love that, because it is amazing the things that we think about that are so far from what we're capable of, that if it's just a shift of thought, and that's where I'm so excited about you moving forward, is you're going to have this light bulb moment, man. And I know that statistics are statistics, but you're going to be playing a match one day, and this ball that you may be missing the net 100 times out of 100, all of a sudden clears the nets and pastes the baseline. And you're like, how did I not do that before, right? You're always going to ask yourself that question. But ultimately, that's how I feel this game works, man, is if you keep your nose in there long enough, eventually you're going to have the breaks you need, the experience you need. And man, we're all rooting for you. I'm just incredibly impressed with you as a human being, as a fellow believer. I believe that the sky's the limit for you. And I certainly wish you nothing but tremendous success. And I'm going to be locked in on your journey and rooting all along the way. So, Mr. Noah Christian Dion, thank you so much for joining me today on the BTB Project.
Thank you, Kollman. Thank you so much.
What a tremendous conversation with Noah Christian Dion. His journey to go after a dream that a lot of people think is impossible, to trust himself through faith and continue to push each and every day. As I can relate, many years ago, making the same decision Noah did, despite the naysayers, despite difficult circumstances, despite hardship, that he continues to find ways to improve, get 1% better every day, and ultimately become one step closer to his dream of playing Division I college tennis. As a listener, there's tremendous takeaways from Noah's story. Each of us have goals, dreams, and ambitions that we're going after. And it's not if, but when the roadblocks occur, how do we handle them? What do we do to continue to move forward, to pivot, to adapt and adjust, to never stop going after our dreams? Noah ultimately will continue to grind, will continue to do what he can to play Division I college tennis. Ultimately, it's a pursuit of that journey that's most important for the building blocks to Noah create in his life. Listen, if this BTB episode impacted you, do me a favor, like and subscribe to the BTB Project. Better yet, send this message to a family member, friend, or colleague, and let them know why Noah's story impacted you. It's this BTB community and opportunities to learn from others' stories, just like Noah's, that can inspire us, that can encourage us, and to go after our dreams together. As always, I'm proud of each and every one of you, and until next time, take care. What a tremendous conversation with Noah Christian Dion. His journey to go after a dream that a lot of people think is impossible, to trust himself through faith and continue to push each and every day. As I can relate, many years ago, making the same decision Noah did, despite the naysayers, despite difficult circumstances, despite hardship, that he continues to find ways to improve, get 1% better every day, and ultimately become one step closer to his dream of playing Division I college tennis. As a listener, there's tremendous takeaways from Noah's story. Each of us have goals, dreams, and ambitions that we're going after. And it's not if, but when the roadblocks occur, how do we handle them? What do we do to continue to move forward, to pivot, to adapt and adjust, to never stop going after our dreams? Noah ultimately will continue to grind, will continue to do what he can to play Division I college tennis. Ultimately, it's a pursuit of that journey that's most important for the building blocks to Noah create in his life. Listen, if this BTB episode impacted you, do me a favor, like and subscribe to the BTB Project. Better yet, send this message to a family member, friend, or colleague, and let them know why Noah's story impacted you. It's this BTB community and opportunities to learn from others' stories, just like Noah's, that can inspire us, that can encourage us, and to go after our dreams together. As always, I'm proud of each and every one of you, and until next time, take care.